And we are live. Okay. Let's see. It's been so long since I did a goddamn live stream. Let's wait till some eyes get on it. While we wait for eyes to come on here, how have you
Back like we
been?
ain't never left, baby.
Back like we ain't never left, baby. Man, how's the family?
We're good. We're good. Getting ready for Yang 2024.
Getting ready for Yang 2024. Okay, so all right, that's interesting. Let's kick it off with that because right. Let me make sure my shit is cool.
I know, right?
Let's kick it off with that because a lot of people saying it's not going to be a Yang 2024 after the mayoral.
Let's kick it off with the fact that you hijacked my live stream. Let's kick it off with that.
Yeah. we're gonna go back and forth. So the next one is gonna be on you, and then after that is gonna be on me, and we could just do some back and forth shit.
Well, I mean, at the rate that we do them, though, like what we do, like put out 2 a year.
No, 2 a year we start charging. No, I think I wanna do it once a week, right? And that's what I was telling boys. I want to do it once a week, or at least 3 times a month. Like it's got to be done 3 times a month, and then maybe 1 week out of the month I hop on Boyce's shit too, because people seem to like that format. They like the this kind of format. So I said, well, fuck it, why not?
Do they though? Because I have a hard time getting views. It's almost like YouTube has buried us.
YouTube has buried us, even more so than before. YouTube has buried us. I think I got a video coming up about not to spoil too much, but even Yang's podcast has taken a pretty big hit. Some of it could be because he's not running for POTUS right now, but I think YouTube also when you go to look up Yang Speak shit, they're pushing it back as well.
I mean, some of it could be because it sucks. It's okay, but it's not like, if I'm listening to a podcast, I want to hear like the Joe Rogan podcast because it's so in depth. And I think that's where a lot of stuff gets lost. We don't have real conversations anymore. And on his podcast, because of the format that it is, he gets into these long form conversations and he doesn't have an agenda. He's not there to prove. He just wants to know the facts. Right. That's why, he has on doctors and he has on all these intelligent people who are smarter than him.
Right.
And I think Yang is going to do that. He's going to have someone on tomorrow that deals with cryptocurrency or something like that. Mm-hmm. I just don't think that like an hour is long enough to get into the meat of any of the issues. And we've lost that as a society. We're so used to these 30-minute segments on the news. Mm-hmm. But what do you really get out of that? There's no substance there. Right.
No, I agree. Do you feel he should have had more hold on, let me DRSmetal. What's going on, brother? Because you always show love. Thank you for supporting the channel. But Yang Speaks lost 5,000 subscribers since that Israeli tweet. Again, I didn't want to get too much into it, but fuck it.
It was a bad take. It was horrible. Come on, man.
Horrible take.
You got to know better than that.
I don't think you can win on it. I think I don't think it's a subject you can win on, to be quite honest. Somebody's going to get offended, so you might as well just not say shit.
I think it more has to do with the take that he had on it was like almost like a boomer mentality take. It was, we have to support Israel at all costs and nobody else is right except for Israel. Well, you know what? That shit went out a long time ago. Right. We've been supplying Israel with millions and millions and millions of dollars to feed their war machine. And when the lives of innocent people are lost, I don't give a fuck what side you're on. You're in the wrong, because innocent lives are being lost.
Yep.
And that's all this Israel-Palestine thing is. There's innocent lives being lost. It's not it's not the rich people who suffer. It's always the poor people.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was when I was following the mayoral campaign, and I was like in depth, like that started it, right? And then he didn't do too well when he should have, I don't want to say spoke more eloquently, chosen his words more carefully when he was speaking on the homeless. And then it was, I mean, there was a lot. It's easy when you're sitting back and you're doing armchair commentary, but when you go and look at it, there was a lot he could have changed, and it started, I think, with the Israeli mention, for sure.
He's going to have to walk that back at some point, and you have to take the stance of the two-state solution, where everybody is at peace and everything can get worked out, because that's the only solution that's going to work. You can't just keep blindly supporting Israel just because Israel is Israel.
Right. You know? I feel like that's so corporate Democrat. Every corporate Democrat is saying supportive. Like you got the Sanders people that are saying two-state solution and stuff like that, but it's very corporate Democratish to be like, oh no, it's Israel hands down. No, that's just not what it is. Two-state solution is probably the best and only solution I think we can come to at this point.
But it's corporate Republican too. That's just it's
corporate Republican too.
Both sides of that equation have the people who are, well, we got to support Israel. We got to support Israel. That's because Israel is like our watchdog.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And that's the only reason. That's the only reason. We've got this whole, oh gosh, there's so many layers to like what goes on. I mean, it's the whole. You've got the Roman Catholic Church. They control the arm that is the faith arm. Then you've got Israel, and you've got the war machine, and you've got, it's all being run by a bunch of billionaires.
So do you think, so DRSmetal says it's just angry left progressives that want a perfect candidate. It could also be a mix of Trump supporters that unsubscribe too. Do you think that's accurate?
On Yang Speaks, I think it's
on
just
Yang
more,
Speaks, yeah.
I think it's just more that people have kind of lost a little bit of faith in Andrew because of the things that he's done. You know, going out and hiring the Bloomberg hacks and doing that. You know, the court. You're basically becoming what you spoke against when you first started this whole campaign.
And it drove his campaign to the ground.
Drove it to the ground. But that was a no-win situation anyway. New York City was a no-win situation.
Correct.
I put out a video on this, and I was like, you know what? I hope he fucking loses the ranked choice voting, because it's a no-win situation.
Let me say this now. You know, because I'm a man of my word, and I'm a man that can admit when he was wrong. Okay. So I was all for Yang becoming mayor. I covered him that he was going to run for mayor way back when, right? And I was like, it's all but confirmed. And people were like, oh, he didn't confirm it. This isn't confirmed. This is not it was confirmed. And then he did it, right? And I was like, I don't understand why people are afraid for him to run for mayor of New York when he was running for president of the United States. It just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, if he can handle the Oval Office, he can handle New York. I was wrong. I was wrong. And I can admit when I'm wrong, right? New York was a different beast. And I had people from New York telling me what was going on over there, and it was a different beast. And obviously, like you said, he hired the Bloomberg people. He didn't do a lot to help his campaign at all, but it was a different beast, and they showed it, and it showed. And so I do take it back. I don't think it was smart for him to run, and I do think it could have potentially have affected his 2024 run.
It could, but he has to run anyway. because you have to think of it like I said in one of our videos, you have to think of it like a castle door, right? Mm. We're all on the other side of this castle door, and we keep slamming the damn battering ram into the door. Well, he's by default, he's kind of like our general, right? Right. And he has to be the one, I think, unless someone else steps up. He has to be the one that picks up that battering ram and keeps hitting the door. Because eventually we're going to bust through. Eventually there's going to be enough of us. And you're seeing it with some of the candidates like Jermaine Johnson who have won. Eventually we win. Eventually, but it's a race against time, and that's the problem. We are literally racing against time right now. Agreed. America is on the verge of becoming something that I never thought I would see, and it's kind of scary. Mm. The division, it's only getting more divided. Mm-hmm. And then you have a small group of us. We're on the other side. We're like, hey, we're over here. We don't have to do it this way, y'all. We can be better, you know. Right. But how do you take that message and encapsulate it and give it to the American people to where they feel hope again? Because the fact of the matter is, this pandemic has only made things worse. And more people are being pushed to the side. More and more people are becoming homeless. Mm-hmm. Andrew Yang is looking pretty fucking smart right now. You know?
I gotta, you being my brother from another mother, I got a question for you. What could Yang have done to appeal to the minority voters in New York and just in general? Because I remember when he was running for presidency, people were getting on me about
listen, bruh, here's the thing, right? Fuck New York City. I love everybody in New York City, but fuck y'all. We don't need Andrew Yang as the mayor of New York City. We need Andrew Yang as president so that he can help everybody.
They're lacing up the Timbs right now to come.
I don't give a fuck. I got Timbs too.
Preach.
I know how to scrap. Whatever.
Preach.
I'm wearing my Cobra Kai shirt. You know, I watched UFC last night. You don't want any. I promise you. I will give you that.
Shit.
But look, check it out. Andrew Yang's path to victory in 2024 is to stop fucking around with all the damn white people in fucking New Hampshire who have a lot more money than the people in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Because down in my neck of the woods, in Jermaine Johnson's neck of the woods, motherfuckers are broke. All right. There's no path forward in South Carolina. They ain't shit there. You got to focus there. If you focus there in South Carolina and Nevada, there's your path to the presidency because you're popular, right? So you're going to resonate in Las Vegas if you do what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Bring out the motherfucking hologram like you said you was going to do.
Right. Las Vegas. Yeah.
Bring your message of the broke folk vote to South Carolina where the broke people are.
Correct.
Yep. You just won 2 early voting states. What are we talking about here? But you know what? You got to do it as an independent. You cannot run as a Democrat. You cannot run as a Republican. Your path is as an independent. If you got to do what's his name did, and you have to buy airtime as an independent so that your message gets out there, like Ross Perot did back in the day.
Ross Perot did the best out of everybody who's.
Because the fact of the matter is, people are fed up with the Democrats. They're fed up with the Republicans. There were something like, I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was the people who didn't vote. And the people who didn't vote because they didn't feel like they had a voice. Now, all of a sudden, you give those people who don't have a voice, and you carve out of all of those people, and then you carve out of the people who are center left and center right. And you take South Carolina, you take Nevada, you win. We can win this. There has never been a time that has been more right for a third party than right now.
Then right. I agree. I don't think it'd be an easy battle. Listen, do you remember when obviously when Andrew ran for presidency, and so did Tulsi, the Dems, like, I'm pretty sure, if I'm incorrect, let me know in the comment section, they like had them sign shit that they wouldn't run as a third party. Like, it was like, if you got out, if you didn't make it, you can't run as a third party. He'd be fighting off the Republicans. He'd be fighting off the Republicans and the Democrats. It would be an uphill battle. But I do think now would be the time where a third party could run.
Yes, but in the wise words of Tony Robbins, right?
Tony Robbins.
He's not my guru, but that motherfucker is smart, because he made a statement that has resonated with me since the time that I heard it. He said, sometimes if you want to take the island, you got to burn the fucking boat behind you. Yep. You've got to go all out gangster, anti-establishment. You've got to throw punches on both sides. It's what got Donald Trump elected.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about it.
By the way, he is running in 2024. I have a video.
I don't give a fuck. We can beat Donald Trump.
Well, listen,
he
no.
Sit on Andrew Yang. That's just it. We all know, we all saw in the beginning of Andrew Yang's, when he first started, he cared about people. He's got to get back to that.
He's got to get those corporate Democrats out of his ear. He's got to stop hiring, Bloomberg goons and people who are the antithesis of what Andrew Yang was.
Right.
He's got to go back to that. No, and I'm gonna be quite honest. I don't know why you were never on Yang Speaks, to my recollection, right?
No.
You not only should you have been on Yang Speaks, I think you should have also been a part of his campaign in some way, shape, or form, because of the sheer groundwork and friendship that you guys have. I think he had Erica Rhodes on there, which was cool, but there's some Yang Gang out there who, I mean, you're definitely one of the more passionate Yang Gang, but there's some smart motherfuckers out here that would, when I listen to them talk, when I listen to them speak, that could have helped him exponentially. And I'm like, why aren't you reaching out to these people? Or why aren't you at least listening to what they have to say? Because these people were part of the people that got you to where you were going during when you were trying to get to the presidency. Like Yang Gang, and like Mia Songbird was saying, we're some of the most active and loud and boisterous and energetic people that I've met. And you should have been a bigger part of the bigger picture. Personally, that's how I feel. Like when you say hire you, I think he honestly should.
He really can't. I would probably be a poor reflection of his campaign. I tend to speak my own mind, but I kind of wish he ignited something in all of us in the early days that we could be better as a society, that we could come together, that we could not be left or right, but we could be forward, that we could help the homeless person who is living on the street, that we could get the corporate money out of Washington. And he had a plan for it. And he spoke to the creatives. He spoke to the people who universal basic income would have helped tremendously. Struggling, starving artists who shouldn't really have to be struggling over their art, Right. And he sparked something in those people. Panther Dan, Chef Zoot, all the creatives who made these awesome songs, and they were all about humanity, and they were all about moving us forward, and they were all about unity. He's got to get back to that. He's got to reach those people again, because those are he inspired me to create a YouTube channel. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I had to do everything that I could to help this man win. Because I know what it's like to be homeless. And I know how much $1,000 a month would have helped us out.
Right.
I know how much democracy dollars could have washed out the corporate money in Washington. And that alone was worth the price of entry for me to do everything that I could to get Andrew Yang elected. Because I'm tired of people like Nancy Pelosi making more in the stock market through the pandemic than most big companies. So how is it that she's getting a much better return rate on investment? It's because she knows shit. And she's using that information. And I don't give a fuck what you say. She's doing it. And if you think she's not, you're fucking naive. I cannot prove it. No. But I mean, sure as hell talk about it.
I mean, we can deduct it. She's been in politics forever. Like, honestly, I mean, people bring up this discussion all the time. If there should be a time limit, if there should be like all right, you've served however many years, you can't serve anymore. Because she's literally been in politics forever. It's almost gross. So yeah, she definitely come on.
How often is that story repeated in Washington?
Right. Yeah.
So the only way that you're going to eliminate that is one, yes, probably term limits, and then you have to eliminate the corporate money in Washington. You have to give the power back to the people. The only problem is they're not going to do it. Right. They're not going to give up their power. That's their power.
That's their power. Who would? Right. But power corrupts absolutely. Power corrupts absolutely, and absolute power corrupts. Isn't that what it said? They're not going to give that up just willy-nilly. That's not going to happen. But there definitely should be term limits because this shit is ridiculous. It is crazy. You brought up your YouTube channel. So I want to say probably my first video that really did like views, right? Was Yang converts Republican, and it was you. And obviously we didn't know each other at the moment. And obviously you had a lot of passion, and other people covered that video too. But that was like my first video that really blew. And then you and I had like a conversation maybe a week after that. What the hell's going on with your YouTube now? Because it's not, I don't think it's political anymore. So let me know what you're doing. Like what's going on now?
Okay, so before we started covering Andrew Yang, we used to buy storage lockers in North Carolina.
Okay.
And just like on Storage Wars, and we used to sell, all the contents, whatever. So after Andrew suspended his campaign, we kind of went out. We tried to do American Dystopia. We changed the name, and then
remember that?
we were like, what do we do? Because we have a channel, we have 10,000 subscribers. We have to provide them value. We have to provide content. And so we were like, well, we'll just start buying storage lockers again. Well, then Andrew Yang suspended his mayoral campaign. I kind of feel like he's going to run in 2024.
Right.
And so basically, I just haven't gotten around to changing the name back to Grassroots Yang Gang. But it's who we are, man. It's who we'll always be. No matter what happens with Andrew. We're a channel that has, we're all about humanity, man. We're all about just wanting to come together, man. Fuck all the shit that came before. Listen, I know it was bad. I can't fix it. I wasn't there.
Right.
All I can do is love you for you. That's all I can do. All I can do is reach out to you as a brother and just try to show you love. That's it.
Yeah.
And so we've never lost that, and that's who we are. And I feel like, he's going to unsuspend. He's going to unsuspend his 2020 campaign, and we're going to win in 2024.
I mean, yeah, it's so the establishment is looking at Kamala and they're scared, right? So, all right, I got to hit multiple things because I saw some of the comments. I don't want to ignore anybody's comments. So somebody said Trump's not going to run again in 2024. He was on Sean Hannity, and I watch all the corporate news because I have to cover this shit, and I have to know what the fuck they're talking about so I can cover it. So he was on Sean Hannity, and they asked him, "Have you made up your mind about 2024?" And he said, "Yes, I have." He's going to run again. And then Bill O'Reilly has said 3 times that Trump is running on 2024, and him and Bill just did a tour. So, not that I'm saying Trump can beat Yang. I'm just saying 9 times out of 10, he's going to attempt to run again. Now, the Democratic establishment is scared shitless right now because the darling Kamala isn't doing so hot, right? She's had a lot of gaffes. People really aren't feeling her right now. She's not what they expected her to be, which I don't know what they expected her to be because she was doing horrible during the primary. Like, I think what Iowa is when she dropped out or something like that. She dropped out really early. There was no way for her to win. Again, Yang got farther than she got. So I'm not sure why they decided, no, we're going to well, I know why they decided to make her VP, but they made her VP and expected something different. So if it's Kamala versus Trump, unless there's just anti-Trump sentiment still going strong, she's going to have a hard fucking time. She's going to have a really hard fucking time. Yang needs to make a comeback and needs to return to speaking from the heart, forget corporate strategists. I think you're absolutely correct. And I think he is going to run in 2024 and that you, Russell, are going to have to change that back to grassroots Yang Gang ASAP.
Yeah.
ASAP. ASAP.
Yeah. It'll be soon. You know, I guess my biggest hang up for changing the name back to Grassroots Yang Gang is the fact that I just went and had business cards made up. And man, is it a pain in the ass to keep switching stuff back over, man. It's like, what do you do? Because, you know, he's going to run again. He has to.
I think, yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. He's still young. He's got a lot of energy. Look, you know, mayoral race aside, and I covered this. Even if Yang was out, UBI is in. He shifted the Overton window. You got all these mayors everywhere in all these states wanting to do some sort of UBI-esque program. So he definitely made an impact. If he can get over this, what happened with him being mayor and sort of like just get that shit to the side, I think he'll do great in 2024. I think he can win. Because the candidates that the Dems have right now that could potentially be running are absolute trash. They're not good.
But they've been trash. They've been trash. And yet they keep promoting the same recycled garbage over and over and over again. You know, you were talking about Kamala Harris, and you know that's like picking up a piece of dog poop and wondering why your hand stings. Well, that's because you picked up dog poop, stupid.
Right. Yeah. With Biden's cognitive decline and Kamala's foot in mouth communication style, the Dem primary in 2024 is going to be wide open. Exactly. But again, I don't know why they expected something different. She did horrible. She was the darling in the primary. They're like, oh, Kamala, yeah, she's going to do so well. Tulsi came in, obliterated her with facts. And then they proceeded to obliterate Tulsi with lies. And she took her down. I don't even know why they expected something different. During the debates, her main go-to was suspend Trump from Twitter, which actually ended up happening. But it's wide open. Yang, I know we don't want him to necessarily run as a Democrat. You think an independent would be the wise choice, or as a third party would be a wise choice. But I think with it wide open, he'd have a shot. The Dems are going to want him to play ball, though. It's tough. It's tough. They want him to play ball.
I cover a lot of what I think went wrong with Andrew's campaign in my book, which should be out this fall.
Guys, Russell's book will be out this fall. What's the name? You got a name so we know what to anticipate?
Tentatively, right now, it's called The Monster Under Your Bed.
Okay.
That's tentatively what it's called. I like it. It's my biography. And I go into a lot of what came before Andrew Yang, and you know what led up to the whole reason we started our YouTube channel. And it's a very interesting tale, and I hope that everybody will check it out. And I'll make sure to send you a copy of it as soon as it's done. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to go about either self-publishing or trying to find a publisher, but it is one fucking humdinger of a story.
I mean, I know that's got to be a page turner. I would love to read that. That'd be amazing. Because you've seen some shit. You've been through some shit. Like, man, I would love to read that. And I'm sure the Yang Gang and everybody else would love to pick that up. I think it's like easy at this day and age to get that out there via like Amazon has a really good, a really easy way to get your book out there too. But you can go past Amazon, like hard copies. I want all that. I want a hard fucking copy.
I'm going to do hard copies. I want to do, I'll probably record an audio version, obviously, because a lot of people take in audio. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have one of the few claims to fame. Like, who else can say that they ran Run DMC off the stage after 3 songs?
Okay.
I mean, only I can say that, right?
You said, all right. So I need some clarification because on Twitter, if you guys haven't added us on Twitter yet, please do. Right, add us on Twitter. I love talking to you guys on Twitter. You said you and the missus were talking about it. It's something I should ask you about. How did you run? What happened? How you running people off stage?
Well, not just people. We're talking about Run DMC when Jam Master Jay.
Yes. How did you run them off stage?
Well, this is one of the stories that I go into in my book. There was a rave in North Carolina. It was one of the biggest parties of the year, and it was called Tantra. And the cool thing about raves, right, and the cool thing about parties is you would get these flyers, and on these flyers, it would have a list of all the people who were going to be performing and all that stuff, and every flyer was different. Mm-hmm. And I got this one, and it said Tantra on it, and I was like, man, that sounds so cool. So I flipped it over, and I was to look down the list and see who was going to be there. Mm-hmm. It was going to be a whole bunch of techno groups there, and they were going to be spinning all night. And one of the groups that was going to be there was Run DMC, and Sir Mix-a-Lot was there.
And Sir Mix-a-Lot. Okay.
Sir Mix-a-Lot, yes. And okay, so I go to the party, right? This place is huge. It's just like set out over this whole fucking, acres and acres and acres. And everybody there is obviously on some type of something. Well, I decided that night was going to be the first night that I candy flipped. Do you know what that is?
It sounds like you were taking some sort of substance.
Okay, candy flipping is when you take LSD and you take ecstasy at the same time. And so that was the first night that I candy flipped.
living life on the edge.
It didn't know what to do, bro. My body didn't know what to do. So we go through all the. I watch Sir Mix-a-Lot, and you know he gets all these pretty women up on the stage, and he's like 400 pounds at this point, but right. He still got it. He still got everybody screaming and everybody. And, well, Run DMC comes on, and I experienced one of the widest moments that I have ever experienced in my entire life. My cracker came out so bad because I was uninformed, right? So Run DMC gets up there, Reverend Run's up there, Jam Master Jay's back there on the thing, on the turntables or whatever. And while they're performing, for some reason, I got it in my head, right? That they did Rapper's Delight. Which, for those of you who don't know, Rapper's Delight was performed by the Sugar Hill Gang.
still a classic and amazing song, but
still a classic, but not performed by Run DMC.
No.
So they're out there and they're just like doing their songs, and I keep going, Rapper's Delight, Rapper's Delight, Rapper's Delight, Rapper's Delight. And after about 3 songs of me standing in front of the stage screaming for Rapper's Delight, Reverend Ron just throws his fucking microphone down and looks at the rest of them. He's like, come on. And they just walked off the stage. And I was sitting there and I was like, why the hell did they stop just singing? I was just trying to get them to do one. And then it like hit me later. I was like, oh God, dude, I just ran Run DMC off the stage. It's okay, because none of them white people would have remembered it the next day anyway.
Holy shit.
Well, there's my story about how I ran Run DMC off the stage.
You know what? I guarantee that's something they never forgot.
I bet not. I think about it every so often, and I'm just like, man, God, dude.
That's hilarious. It's
hilarious to you. It wasn't hilarious to my white ass that night.
Holy shit.
I felt so bad.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Oh man. All right. So Andrew, gotta go back to
Rapper's Delight, baby. Let's go.
You need a shirt. You need merch. Rapper's Delight.
Crackers Delight.
Oh shit. So okay. So you think Yang has a shot in 2024? Even
only if he does it right. Only if he does it right. He's got no shot if he doesn't.
Okay. So what if he ran as a Republican? Because that's one of the things I get in my DMs and inbox constantly is if Yang ran as a Republican, he would do better. What do you think?
It's gonna be okay. Yeah, so he might pull some Republicans, but bruh, I'm a lifelong Republican, right. And he pulled me. Dennis was a lifelong Republican. He pulled him. He pulled a lot of Trump voters. Yeah. Because he was speaking to issues and not people. Mm-hmm. If he would stop speaking to people, stop speaking. He's got to talk directly where people live. Mm-hmm. The message of UBI resonates with people in South Carolina. Yeah. His cult following resonates with people in Nevada. You got to capitalize where people live. When he was giving those stump speeches in New Hampshire, yeah, he was packing out coffee houses. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. Guess what? The people in New Hampshire think that their vote don't stink.
Right.
Your message does not resonate with those people. It just doesn't. You have to. UBI resonates in South Carolina. Democracy dollars should resonate everywhere. But I think it's a message that kind of would resonate more in Iowa. You've got policies that you already have that are already established that speak to people in different places. So do that.
Yeah.
This is not rocket science. All you have to do is get enough people excited about your ideas, and they're going to support you. Mm-hmm. I didn't have money, but guess what? I donated to Andrew's campaign, the only campaign that I've ever donated to. You know why? Because it was an investment in the future.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yang was the first candidate I've ever donated to as well. Absolutely. He not only did we donate to Andrew Yang, but we supported the cause. Listen, YouTube videos aren't. It looks easy, but it's really fucking not. It's time consuming. It's
hard as hell.
Hard as hell. It's a second job, to be honest. So not only did I donate money to Andrew Yang, but time as well. And I really do believe, issue-wise, and humanity-wise, that's the person we need. But we got to get those people out of his ear. We got to get those people out of his ear. We got people unsubscribing. Who unsubscribed? Somebody unsubscribing from Yang Speaks, and people are saying he's out, and we got to change that. We got to get him back in.
You know why that is, though? It's because people don't have any hope. They're looking around them and they're like, well, I can't fucking care about politics anymore because Andrew Yang is obviously not in it anymore. And he was the only reason that they cared to start with. So now you have this group of people who are just kind of milling about, you know, and he has to go Braveheart, man. He has to. He has to go Braveheart. He has to throw up his sword, and he has to say, you know what? Fuck both of y'all. Both of y'all corrupt as fuck. And you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get into office. I'm going to get this, and this passed because I think that I can do that. And once I get this, and this passed, I don't give a fuck about y'all. Y'all can have it back. Because once these things are passed, then the ball's set in motion. And y'all don't have the power that you had anymore.
Right.
And if he could do, if he goes in with that message and just lays waste to both sides, like he did in the debate when he was like, listen, it's all a fucking act. We're all up here with makeup, and he broke down that wall. He's got to do that. That's what people are responding to because that's what's got people fed up in this country. They're fed up.
Yep.
They see that Bezos is just getting more and more rich. They see that all these corporations are just getting more and more rich. 70% of small businesses went under during COVID. 70%, never to return. Never to return. Think about that. It's the greatest consolidation of wealth in history.
You know, it sped up what he was saying was going to happen. It sped it up by 7 years or something like that. 7 years and 7 days or in 7 weeks when COVID hit. When Yang ran, I've never seen so much inspiration, and I think the only time I ever saw that much inspiration and hope was when Bernie first ran, right? But when Yang ran, I've never seen so much inspiration and hope. And I mean, people were making political ads for Yang, and I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. And I don't think it's too late. People are saying he's done. I don't think it's too late. I think he can bring that same spark back in 2024. You just need to hire Russell.
Man, wait till you read my book, right? Because you're going to be, when you do, and you see the story that actually went in behind, like, my life up to that point, right? You're going to read that book, and you're going to be like, holy fuck. And you went from there to where you're at now. It's like a light switch got flipped on, and I stopped being concerned about myself.
Right.
You know, I started being more concerned about what we could do for this country. Because just I'm sorry. It's I have to like kind of not give too much away, you know.
Right. Yeah. Don't spoil anything. But it seems like it's sort of surreal when you look back at it, huh?
To go from being someone who spent almost 4 years in state prison to be where I am today, it's remarkable. And he flipped that switch. Andrew Yang flipped that switch.
I'm pretty sure you had no idea who interviewed you. Who did that interview with you? With the Yang converts Republican. Who was it? Was it CNN? Was it Fox?
That was CNN. Kevin Sarlin did that interview. It was covered by Kyle Kalinske. He covered it. A lot of people covered it. And I'm pretty sure I'm the one that yanged Barry Weiss that used to work for the New York Times.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I yanged her.
You had no idea that interview would turn into what it did. There was no, like, did you have any inclination like, holy shit, this is going to get some of the biggest political channels to, like, this is going to go everywhere. Andrew Yang's going to see it. Like, I'm sure you had no idea.
I did. That was just it. I did have a good idea. The first time that we were interviewed by the LA Times. And it was during the Clyburn fish fry. And I knew that the message that I had was not your ordinary message, because I was coming from the Republican side, moving over to the Democratic side just to vote for Andrew Yang. And I knew that story would resonate with people, and I knew that I had to get it out to as many news outlets as I could. And so I started seeking the camera out. When I would go to these events and I would cover Andrew, I would literally try to find the closest TV camera, and I would do my best to get their attention just to get on. I did it with the New York Times. I did it with CNN. I did it with Fox News. I did it with ABC. I did it with Denver Courthouse News. I did it with the LA Times. On and on and on. I just repeated the process because I knew that my voice could help him get the people who were on the side that I came from.
Yes.
You know? And that to me, that was very important, because he's talking about things that affect both sides. He's not just talking about things that affect the left, and he's not talking about things that affect the right. He's talking about broke motherfuckers like us.
The broke folk vote. The broke folk vote. When we went to New Hampshire, I think it was CNN that was there and MSNBC. There were 3 news outlets there. I remember I spoke to them. Did you end up speaking to them when we went to New Hampshire that night? Do you remember that? It was the end of the night.
I don't remember much about the end of the night. Hey, man, I'm just being. Listen, it's New Year's Eve, and I'm there with Andrew Yang and you and everybody else and all the Yang gang, and I was just loving it. Yeah. And what was that dude that was drinking for Andrew? Remember that dude?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name.
I can't remember
he would take drink, and like I was buying him drinks.
He was dancing by the end too. That guy was dancing by the end.
Who wasn't dancing by the end?
I can't. I don't know. Dude's a legend. But I always wonder, like, when they interview you, like those interviews never went out. Like, what the fuck do they do with it? They just like stash the footage somewhere, or they're like, oh, he's speaking too much real shit, we're not putting this out. The fact that they interviewed you and they put it out is amazing, because sometimes they sit on those interviews. They're like, oh, he's saying too much real shit, we don't want to put the real shit out. So that was dope. It's the domino effect that your interview caused, not only with me personally, but in, shit politics at that time was pretty damn dope. It was pretty dope.
You got to think, man, just on the Kyle Kulinski, just him covering that interview, it got almost 200,000 views. That interview.
Yep. Yeah, that's, I mean, and probably more now. Like, if you were to look back now, it's definitely over 200K now. Because that sometimes YouTube recommends shit, and that'll pop up randomly sometimes because it was a hot video, right? So it'll just throw that shit up randomly at you, like, oh, hey, if you didn't see this from 2 years ago or a year ago, just check this out randomly. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's much more than that right now. How do you feel about some of the other, or do you keep in touch with some of the other Yang gang that no longer do videos? Like, I don't think Paget does it anymore. How's Trumper for Yang doing? Like, how are some of the other? Because I was gone for like 7 months. I was gone for 7 months.
Dennis is still polarizing people left and right. That's just what he does. That's his shtick, man. If he doesn't polarize you, then he's not happy. If he's not getting under your leftist skin, he is not happy.
Yeah,
Me,
man.
I'm kind of the opposite. You know, I came from the Republican side, but man, I'm just kind of like, man, I don't care about what letter is after your name. I just care about you.
Right.
And that's all I need to do. And so I kind of tend to stay away from all the bullshit that happens in the Yang game because I'm all about love, and that doesn't exist in my universe.
Yes.
But Paget, I mean, we never really talked during the campaign that much. I think we might have talked one time.
Which is insanity. This isn't so. You got to understand. From me, I was a channel just trying to get my voice heard. Remember, at first I wasn't even showing my face. I don't know. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
You're
the
like,
face reveal.
Right. The face reveal. Yeah. So like, you, Paget, Nerds for Yang, you guys were fucking legends, right? You guys. I'm like, look at these huge channels. So it's mind-boggling. The Matt and Zach show that like you weren't. I don't know. In my mind, I pictured some like Legion of Doom table, and you guys are all at the table, big cigars, talking to each other. But nah, a lot of times we weren't even communicating with each other. We got to change that in 2024. Everybody got to fucking talk to everybody. We all got to reach out. We got to talk to everybody. I don't give a fuck. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. And you're right. It has to be more of a community. I know that Matt has continued to do his thing, and he's still covering Andrew. I don't know, man, because like I look at where we came from, right? Covering Yang events and trying to Yang people, and I
lived vicariously through. I couldn't get to those places at the time. So your live streams and then Matt and Zach's live streams, I was living the campaign through you guys. You do realize that.
I do, but I don't know that place is there for us anymore. You know, I think that it has evolved into something else, and I don't know where we fit into that picture. I know during the mayoral race, we didn't fit into that picture. It was made pretty clear to us that we didn't fit into that picture.
Right.
But
a lot of good that did them.
It's a different breed. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's a different thing.
Right.
Maybe if he goes back to, you know, and he starts running again, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you think some new Yang Gang channels will sprout from a 2024 race? Some new faces?
It's only natural that evolution takes place. Because as you continue to put your message out there, you're going to start resonating with more people. The more people that you resonate with, the more people who are going to put out content, you know, that's based on you. I guess we'll see. You know, I really hope. I just wish Andrew would listen. You know,
right?
If he would not listen to the Bloomberg suits and just listen to me, a guy who's been on the streets, a guy who knows what it's like to be broke, a guy who knows where your message resonates, I think he'd be a whole lot better off, because guess what? I'm most Americans.
Think Beyond says Legion of Yang. I like that. Holy shit. The Legion of Yang. You know, think I'm using that. The Legion of Yang. And we will have to battle and debate the Bernie bro channels like Sam Cedar and others that hate Yang just because he's not Bernie.
But that's just it, right? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing about Andrew. Andrew changes the way that people think about certain things. Andrew took Kyle Kulinski, who was absolutely 100% Bernie, and
sold him on UBI.
He changed his view on universal basic income.
Sold him on UBI.
Sold him.
Yep.
Then he sold that same idea to me, who is a Republican on the right. So that message resonates on both sides. We just got to be smart enough to realize that we can capitalize on that.
Man. I just feel like we have to stay in it for the long haul. It's, YouTube's interesting, and I don't know if it's the same way with you with the new content that you're doing. But if I go askew from Andrew Yang content, YouTube do not like that shit. Does not. If I do something else, like I covered Shikari, right, and the Olympic thing and my thoughts, YouTube didn't like that shit. By the way,
travesty.
It is a travesty. I gave my thoughts, my honest opinions on it. And YouTube did not like that.
Awful views, didn't you?
Horrible views. Horrible views in comparison.
I know.
If I go off a skew, even if it's to like a trending topic, YouTube do not like that shit. YouTube's like, no, you do Yang content and everything involved in Yang content, and don't do anything else.
I wonder if that's partly a side effect of YouTube, right?
Right. Yep.
Like nobody watches our Stories Locker videos, even though they're so cool and we find cool shit. Nobody watches them.
Right.
It's because we built our fan base
around Andrew Yang.
And that's what people want who are our fan bases.
Correct.
They might think it's cool that we might find a small bit of gold in a storage locker, but they don't care about that. You know what they care about? They want to see that $1,000 a month in their fucking bank account. That's what they want to see, and they want to hear us talk about it.
Well, Storage Wars is amazing. Like, I don't know, shit like that I can watch all day. Like Storage Wars, like that's okay. So Storage Wars is one of the things like where I'll put it on my TV, I watch an episode or two, and eventually I'll fall asleep to that shit, right? And it's just, I don't know, it's just good, wholesome TV. I don't know. So like the fact that you did a channel based on that, I just personally thought that like people would like that shit. YouTube's very strict.
Listen, if you want wholesome TV, Bill Cosby has been freed now, and he will be putting out some here in just a little bit. So talking about
fucking Cosby. I'm surprised YouTube's not demonetizing everything related to Cosby. I'm very surprised. That's very interesting. Wholesome TV. What's he saying? Current YouTube progressives are obsessed with the 100% perfect candidate. It is their downfall. Well, a perfect candidate doesn't exist, so they're always going to be angry. They're always going to be
the left. No, not the left being angry. Come on. No way.
Well, right now the YouTube progressives are like fighting amongst each other. Jimmy Dore and Kyle Kalinske and the Young Turks, they are not getting along right now. A lot of people are on Kyle's ass. I personally don't think Kyle was at fault in the grand scheme of things, but they're like fighting amongst themselves right now, which is interesting in its own accord, but it's not getting much done in the bigger picture. Not until Yang corrects his stance in the Middle East, which I believe he eventually will, can't walk past the Palestine with a math hat on yet. Ooh, a Palestinian. Ooh.
Well, now, see, I would have moved that everywhere. But luckily, I probably live in one of the whitest states in the world, in Vermont. So I don't think any Palestinians are going to be bad. I talk shit about this place, right? About it being so white up here. And it is. Vermont is a very white state. But I'm going to tell you something about these people up here in Vermont. These people up here in Vermont, they actually care, okay? There are these 4 or 5 little old white women who every Saturday will bust out their Black Lives Matter signs in a state where there are hardly any black people whatsoever. And they will stand there and they'll hold their signs up and protest. I mean, these people up here are beautiful, man. They really are. They really care. Like, it doesn't matter to them. Because I kind of feel like it's it's the people up here are used to facing like harsher conditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they value things more. They value family more. They value people more. They value community more. And I think that that's where it stems from. And these people up here are great. They are crazy, man. There'll be one person protesting right outside my house at least every weekend. Somebody will be protesting. Somebody will be there was a 9/11 truther protesting right outside of my house over in the little field next door to my house. One guy standing out there holding up a sign on a weekend. I'm like, man, these people are great, but they are fucking crazy.
It's very liberal, very open state. My company actually has a store over there. Yeah, they got one store over there. I've never been, but I would love to visit because I've heard nothing but good things about it. Like nobody's ever told me like, ugh, Vermont. Like nobody's ever said some shit like that to me. So
yeah, it's a great state. Bernie's done a pretty good job here. The taxes are fucking expensive and you can't afford to live. But
Jesus Christ.
It's crazy. It costs so much to live here, dude. It literally costs me like to heat my house in the winter. It costs me, I want to say $600 about every 2 weeks.
Wow. So, you're heating it with oil.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. When I was living in a house, and I don't live in Vermont, and I never realized how expensive. Well, I would stand out like a fucking sore thumb. I would move over there. I'd be like the town celebrity.
It's so funny. Listen, because I come from down south, right? There's black people everywhere. So I move up here, right? And like they'll have a farmer's market over there right outside my door, just like everything else. And I see a black person over there, look. Come on, we gotta go meet him. We gotta go meet him. Oh, Jesus. Because I'm used to, like where I'm from, like it's probably it's very mixed, right? I'm used to that mixture.
Yep.
And all during the campaign, I'm used to that. My whole life I've been in that mixture.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to a place like this, it's really, really weird, and it's an adjustment that you have to go through. It's like a fucking unicorn. Get that unicorn. Let's bring him over there. Come on.
I might have to move to Vermont and mix that shit up. Mix some shit up. I might have to mix that shit up. Fucking A. Let's see what they're saying. Well, so Bobby was saying something. The primary reason why progressives don't like Yang is because Yang veers from progressive orthodoxy. I can't read it.
Which makes him an anathema to them. Ideologically
possession makes one secular equivalent to a dogmatic religious zealot. Is that true or false?
There are a lot of those out there. Because people get married to these ideas and then they don't want to adjust from them. And really the only way that we're going to move forward is to bend those things that we've been so stringent about and start to come together on the issues that actually matter to normal everyday people. One of those is paying the bills. We all got to pay bills. Well, the middle class is all but non-existent. So how do we bring that back? Well, we've got to tax the robots. We've got to tax the rich people. For every robot that's put on the market, there should be a universal basic income implemented for someone. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. Every person should have a robot. And every person should get paid for the robot's work.
Right. Was that the value added tax?
It's a whatever tax you want to call it. I don't know what you call it. It would take somebody a lot smarter than me to work out the mechanics. But in my mind, if I have to go to Walmart and I have to bag my own fucking groceries after I scan them, well, guess what? That robot that I just scanned my groceries on, I should get paid for it.
Yes.
You know why? Yeah. Because you're making a wealth of money off of this robot because you automated jobs away. But then there's that person who got their job automated away. Actually, there were about 10 people that just got their job automated away when you put in that automatic register.
Mm-hmm.
Because now one person is manning 10 registers.
Not only are they getting rid of the registers, and I just read an article which I was thinking about covering, where was it? So there's some like Walmart's being built where there is no cashier. There's somebody that will fix the self-checkout if it screws up. There's like 2 or 3 people that'll fix it, but it's all self-checkout. There is no, it's not like where it's mixed with like, okay, you got a couple self-checkouts here, and then you got some registers there with 2 or 3 people. No, it's all self-checkout, which is insanity. And then in Stop and Shop, you got like a third of the registers open with people manning it. And then you've got like these little Marty robots running around, thus getting rid of the porters and the janitors. They're doing all the porters and janitor job. So now they got to cut those expenses. He called it though. He said this is what it would be.
It was actually predicted long before now. I'm pretty sure that in the Communist Manifesto, they talk about that very thing, about there being an age where it's all automated away. There's no people that are working.
Right.
So how do we go from that dystopian view to a reality where instead of working these pointless, mindless jobs, you know what? Hey, it makes sense. Let's let the robots have the jobs. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? Robots don't get tired. They don't get sick. They don't get COVID. They don't get the Delta variant. They don't need a shot. They don't need.
He said they don't get COVID. That's real shit. Wow.
All the more reason to automate jobs away. They don't get sick.
Yeah. They don't need to take a lunch.
No lunch breaks. No bathroom breaks. Amazon doesn't have to worry about their employees shitting and pissing in bottles.
Yep.
None of that.
Yep. Man.
Humans are so limited.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not even mad at the automation thing. I'm not mad at it. We just have to find a way where the people who no longer can work those jobs don't get fucking tossed to the side.
That's just it, right? So what are people good at? What are we built to do? We are creators. That's what we do. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. We would free ourselves up to become the ultimate creators. Why is that such a bad thing?
Right.
The only reason that it would be a bad thing is if it shook the power structure that is currently in control.
Right. Yeah. If Yang does run again, his slogan should be building a bigger middle class using the freedom dividend.
His slogan should be, fuck all y'all. Fuck all y'all. I'm coming to take my shit. I'm coming to take the White House, and I'm coming to give the power back to the people. And that's my damn slogan. Fuck all y'all.
It's FAY. No longer math apps. It's FAY. Fuck all y'all.
Fuck all y'all. I'm getting made up like that.
Automate jobs away for a living. Yang is correct. What? Explain what that means in the comment section for me, so we can talk about that. You automate jobs away for a living. We'll be able to upgrade our skills from labor to a mechanic. Do you remember when everybody, I think it was mostly the right that was saying it at the time, like with the job loss, like just learn coding, just learn how to code. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 45 years old. I'm gonna fucking learn to code. No, I'm not.
Just learn how to code. You'll be fine.
And it sounds good, but for the problem is there's only so many of those jobs. Only so many people can code. The rest of us, guess what we're going to be doing? We're going to be playing on the Oculus that you coded. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be playing on the Oculus. You have to have a path forward for people, and I don't know if it's. I just where does it end, Ronnie? Where does it end?
I don't know. I don't know. In some aspects, I just feel like we're along for the ride. I don't know where it ends. Like I can speak on it. I can talk about it. I can contribute money to whatever it needs to be done to stop it. But I don't know. If Yang runs again, he needs to link universal basic income with universal health care. I 100% agree. 100% agree. Those were the hot topics during the primary. Healthcare, UBI.
And 100%. Guess what they backed off of? Look at all the Democrats right now. They've all backed off of Medicare.
Healthcare. They backed off of healthcare.
Even Bernie Sanders sold out.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. We got to do better.
Yeah. Well, Bernie, I think what happened with Bernie is he just honestly, he gave the fuck up. Like he gave up. They remember when he was running, Obama called Klobuchar. Obama called Pistol Pete and said, whoa. Bro, listen. You guys need to drop the fuck out, coalesce together, and get your people to vote for Biden. This is Barack Obama calling, telling you this shit. And you need to get fucking Bernie out of there. Like I think he was just like, you know what? You don't fucking want me? What? You don't get me. You don't get Bernie. I think he's done. I think he's disappointed. I think all the progressives, they all started playing ball. Bernie started playing ball. AOC started playing ball. I was talking with Boyce last week, and she pretty much admitted, she's like, yeah, I'm not going to hold Biden's feet to the fire. So like a lot of these, big time progressives that were coming through, they threw in the towel. They started to play ball. And I don't want Andrew to be one of those people that ends up having to play ball, right? I definitely don't want that. And I think that's what some of the people in the comment section are worried about. Where do you go? I think Bobby said it. Yes, Yang went way too far in pandering to Dems. He should have never ran for New York City mayor. Don't pander to them. Don't play ball and not hold people's feet to the fire.
Don't pander to anybody. That's just it. You don't have to pander to anybody. Are they going to ask you questions about certain topics? Yes. But guess what? There's probably about 3 or 4 fundamental things that most Americans can agree on and get behind. Let's focus on those issues that draw the most Americans together. And there's our path forward. Now, all of a sudden, we've got people that we're not alienating because we're only focused on 2 or 3 big issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? The abortion issue, it's still going to be there 20 years from now.
Correct.
Other issues, guns, they're still going to be there 20 years from now.
Correct.
You know what we got to focus on? Feeding people, making sure that people don't lose their homes.
Yep.
Building the middle class back up.
Mm-hmm.
Using your plan to trickle up. Put the money on the bottom and let it go to the top. Jeff Bezos is going to get his. But if we start putting money into people's hands, then all of a sudden people are like me. They're like, hey, well, you know what? I'm a convicted felon. I can't just go and get a job working anywhere and be expected to live. Because the fact of the matter is most people won't hire me.
And that's so fucked up. Like if you served your time, like the fact that you're still being punished after the fact, right? Like that's I've always felt that was fucked up. Like if you served your time and you upheld whatever punishment was presented to you for whatever the fuck reason it was, I really don't care what the felony really was. The fact that after that now you're still treated like the redheaded stepchild in society, you're still getting punished afterwards. The fact that you can't go and apply to a job and not get looked at sideways, that shit really bothers me. It really fucking does.
Yeah, because the fact of the matter is most people have never had to go through what I had to go through. And were there things that I did to put myself in that situation? Yes. But let me tell you something. You have never had to do something so hard as knowing that you have to walk back into a courtroom and face a jury of people who are supposed to be your peers, knowing before you ever walk in there that you don't stand a chance in hell because you had a court-appointed attorney who wasn't worth a shit. And you know that as soon as you stand before that judge, those people are going to come in and they're going to convict you. And your newborn baby and your wife, you got to leave them. You got to walk out in handcuffs, and you have to leave your newborn child, who that is the most important thing in the world for you. Until you've had to go through that shit, you will never understand.
This is why I say you and people like you, and definitely people in the Yang Gang, some of the channels that got them to where got some of the eyes on Andrew Yang, should be on Yang Speaks. Like, you got a story to tell. You got, yeah, sure. It's us talking is always great, and you're my brother from another mother, but you should be on Yang Speaks. How are you not on Yang? Fuck me. Like, me aside. Like, you didn't want to put me on Yang Speaks, or that's fine. But you should be on there. It doesn't make sense why you're not. It's not like he doesn't know your existence. He knows you fucking exist. Right? I don't understand, Andrew. We all need to tweet at Andrew Yang. Russell needs to be on Yang Speaks. If you want to throw me in there too, that's fine. But Russell needs to be on Yang Speaks. The fuck are you doing, Yang? Like, this, you got a story to tell. You got your book to promote.
But I don't think he wants to hear it. He that's the thing, right? Because with me, you're always going to get a reflection of what I see to be is true. And that's just who I am. I'm always raw and I'm always real. And I don't think that Andrew wants to hear the things that I have to say because it would go against the things that other people are telling him. It wouldn't line up with what people who think that they know are telling him.
Yeah, again, the people that are telling him this shit crashed and burned his campaign to the ground. It was fourth place. What the fuck? That was ugly. So whoever, I mean, the people that are in his ear clearly don't know what they're talking about. And we need that old Andrew back. We need him back bad. 100%. Go back to what made you who you were. What made you appeal to all of us, to the masses. I don't like what I saw in New York. I really don't.
It was horrible, man. But I guess all we can do is try to move forward and do the best that we can, because the fact of the matter is, even if Andrew doesn't run, he created something. He created us. He created the belief that we can circumvent the powers that be. We can be better people. We can come together as a nation. I don't have to sit across from you, and just because you have a different skin color, that means I have to hate you. Or just because you have a D or an R after your name, that I have to hate you. Because guess what? I don't hate you. I love you. I care about you. And I want you to have the best of things in life. I want every one of us to experience that, because the fact of the matter is that when you boil it down, guess what? I am you. You are me. Your pain is my pain. Your happiness is my happiness.
Yep.
And until we realize that we are all in fact connected, we're never going to get over this partisan bullshit that they've got us in. We're never going to get over these labels and these boxes that say, hey, I have to hate you because of this. No, I don't. I don't have to hate you. I can choose to love you instead.
Absolutely. And it's, I mean, brother, I've never seen anything more divisive recently than politics. I've made a lot of friends and a lot of family from it. But I have not seen some shit like this that was so divisive. Literally, because people, like you said, had a D or an R next to their name.
It's crazy.
I've seen it break friends apart, families, I mean, if we're gonna go deep, people quit jobs. I know people that quit their job because their boss was a Republican, and it's just insane to me, which is why I can disagree with Trumper for Yang and still keep him on my goddamn friends list and still defend him when I need to defend him and still try to knock some sense into him when I feel the need to as well. But I've had to come to his defense many a times, and I don't agree with everything the motherfucker says, but guess what? That's gonna be my friend. You and I, when you called yourself a Yangocrat, you made that shit fire. But you and I, and we talk about this all the time, we were on completely different sides of the field. I was a Bernie supporter. You said you're a Republican. And then when we linked up and spoke, it was like, I fucking like this. This dude is cool as shit. And it just showed like those letters mean nothing. And that's why when it was not left, not right, but forward, that resonated so much because it was true. It was true. It's 100. We were going through it. It was true. Fucking Russell is the man. Russell is the shit. I don't give a fuck. Like, you can't tell me otherwise. I don't give a fuck. It was an R next to. I don't give a fuck. And it was a really good feeling. So you're 100% correct. I just want everybody to win. I don't care if it's a D or R next to your name. I don't give a fuck if you liked Trump. I don't give a fuck if you liked Biden. I just want everybody to win. I just want us all to do well, to love each other, and it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this difficult.
And that's I think I'll probably end on this. I think something that we absolutely have to remember is two things can be true at the same time, right? I can be a convicted felon. I am a convicted felon. But guess what? I'm also a good person. Just because I'm a convicted felon or been convicted of a felony in my past doesn't mean that I'm not a good person now. Mm-hmm. Just because Trumper for Yang has a viewpoint that I disagree with doesn't mean that he's a bad person. And doesn't mean that he can't say something that's smart. Right. You know, we have to learn that two things can be true at the same time. And once we realize that, I think all of the other bullshit kind of goes away because we realize that we're nuanced. Mm-hmm. Human beings are nuanced. It's never black and white. Right. And I found that most people, there are outliers. You're going to have your crazies on both sides, right? Right. You're going to have, and what's funny about the crazies on both sides, the left looks exactly like the right.
Right.
Once you get to those extremes, they look exactly like each other.
100%.
They're mirror images.
Yep.
But all the rest of us, we're in the middle. But all the rest of us got to speak up because if we don't, those crazy people are going to scream louder than we are, and they're going to be the ones that are being heard.
Yes. You're 100% correct. I 100% agree. The extreme left, the extreme right, whatever you want to call them, they're barking the loudest, and we're here in the middle, fucking suffering, taking the brunt of the bullshit that they're doing. And man, it's got to change. It's got to change. I 100% think you will be pivotal in bringing on this change, whether it's through Yang's next campaign, because you're going to be, if Yang runs for president in 2024, you're going to be on that campaign trail just like you were for 2020. I'm going to be there, right? Whether it's through your YouTube channel, through whatever. I think you're going to help bring more people over to the idea of not left, not right, but forward because of your passion and because you lived it, right? A lot of these people are speaking on it and haven't lived it, right? They're speaking on it as if I think this is how it's supposed to be. No, you lived it. The good, the bad, the ugly, you've seen it all, and you got a story to tell. And Man, all I gotta say is we got some work to do. We got some work to do.
Absolutely,
Sure.
brother.
I love you, brother.
I appreciate you having me on, and I love you too, bro. And like we definitely need to do this more often, because I think that people need to see that it's not all bad in the world. You know,
Right.
there are good people in the world. There are people who care. I see so many stories on Twitter and so many people struggling, and you know, my God, I try to help everybody that I can, you know, but I have my limits, and there's a way that we can help us all.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to unite behind an idea that's bigger than ourselves. We have to be of the mindset that, you know what, this is not about me. This is not about my fame. This is not about me drawing attention to myself or having my tweet get 5 likes on Twitter.
Right.
This is about something that's bigger than all of us. And we need to move in that direction, or it's going to be too late. Because guess what? Behind the scenes, there's companies like BlackRock who are buying up vast amounts of real estate in the United States. And they're driving the price of houses and real estate up to a point where normal people will not be able to afford a house very, very soon.
Yep.
Bill Gates.
All the land he just bought.
All the land he just bought. He's the biggest supplier. He's the only supplier of potatoes to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Let that sink in.
Hundreds and hundreds of acres. Yep. Of land. Yep.
We are slowly losing this war. And the only way that we're going to win this war is to realize that, you know what? There's more of us than there are them. And we have the power. But if we don't use it, then we ain't going to do nothing.
Shit. Well, let's end it on that. And look, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna talk. We'll DM each other, and we'll do it on your channel.
Whoa, bro, you gonna be sliding into my DMs,
man? Jesus Christmas. And we'll just kind of go over a back and forth thing and see people are tuning in. And if you guys like this format, you know, we'll keep doing that. And we got a lot.
After a week, y'all. Make sure you share it out.
Share this out. Talk about it. Tweet it. Retweet it. Put it on Facebook, Reddit, whatever form of social media you use. We'll be back at it again next week. It'll be on Russell's channel, and then vice versa. We'll keep flipping that shit. But look, Yang 2024, humanity first, UBI. Oh, we got to talk about that. You had Yang doing that shit. Me and Boyce was talking about that last time. You had Yang up there on stage doing that shit.
Well, I mean, he kind of started it, you know, with the whole Amazon claw thing.
Right.
I kind of it's so crazy, right? Because I made it a thing. I started doing it in all of our videos.
Yep.
And it caught on. And every Yang event I would attend, they'd be like,
yo, that shit was so dope.
I was like, hell yeah, let's go, baby.
That shit was so dope. That shit was dope. All right, guys, I love y'all. And I got 1 or 2 videos coming up soon. I'm sure Russell got some stuff for you guys. And we're out. Peace.
See you on the next one.